For the people who don't know you, if you're in nomadism or being a nomad, it's a bummer if you don't know this legend because he's done amazing things. You're an OG.
Oh, I have full ADHD. I want to fix everything. For start of building onboarding systems. The other one, I started building a whole remote work policy, and they didn't like it.
What are the most common jobs when it comes to digital nomads? What are the most common traits or most common things that you see under nomads? Or like, oh, there's a lot of those businesses I see under nomads. If there's one thing that you would like to say to the one who is still watching, the one who's still listening. First of all, thanks for being here because you're always busy.
Fair statement so far.
For the people who don't know you, and if you're in nomadism or being a nomad, it's a bummer if you don't know this legend because he's done amazing things when it comes to working with the government of Brazil, setting up the entire nomad spot in Madeira. What else?
Do people in Brazil, we now have Porto as well, as north of Portugal. We do conferences, the Nomad Worlds, and well, we do everything. Events, conferences, retreats. If it exists, we'll probably get it before.
Yeah, it's insane the amount of impact that you had on the whole Nomad space, and you're an OG. Because for how long have you been?
That's
nomading?
7 years.
7 years. Yeah, that's when I was still in school. No, I was not in.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Getting old like that? Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm getting old, but it's fun. It's getting more fun. I think many nomads burn out. I'm just having fun, so this is great.
Okay, so short introduction. Who are you for the people who don't know?
So I'm Gonçalo Hall. I build nomad stuff from nomad villages to conferences and everything in between. I also work with governments. I travel with my family, which is something more new for many people. I have a baby, 2 years old, called Carolina, with my wife, Catarina. Very important. And yeah, I just travel the world full time. I build full time. I don't have a home, car. I have several homes, rented a lot of cars. And that's it. Yeah, just a nomad building stuff along the way.
And when we talk about building stuff, like what's that you do?
This is the hardest question. We did the preparation. This is the hardest question I always struggle to answer because I feel I do whatever I feel I need to do. So I can tell what I did. I started the first nomad village in the world in Madeira, Ponta do Sol. That then now is like 4 communities nowadays, with Digital Nomads Madeira.
What just to break in that?
Yes.
What was the biggest change it brought to Madeira?
Oh, we changed the whole everything. When I arrived there in 2020, we saw basically Madeira was focusing on old tourism. So if you walk around Madeira, you'll see mostly old people hiking, staying in hotels, not moving a lot. And the center of Madeira was Funchal. So everything you saw was hotels in Funchal, to a point that when we launched the project, we had some people saying, oh, I don't want to go to Madeira because Madeira is all buildings. And I was like, what? No, but that was the image that the Madeira was promoting, was Funchal, buildings and hotels. If you see Madeira now, you see young people everywhere, many with Apple MacBooks in their hands. But you also see new tourism, you see young tourism. So people that want to hike, want to have activities. So the whole economy changed from bringing thousands of nomads, around 20,000 per year, to have more expats. We have a great expat community nowadays that's more integrated. Not just older people, but younger entrepreneurs are moving to Madeira.
And we will see amount of startups increase in Madeira because I think that's insane.
80% from before the project to 2023. 80% new tech companies are registered in Madeira, increment by year. And so, yeah, we just created an ecosystem where there wasn't one ecosystem of people, but of companies. We try to integrate as much as possible in the local economy. We did that with the government of Madeira, through the Secretary of Economy and the President, but also through Startup Madeira. And now what we have, I left the project in August, is that some community managers took over and continue the project, which is the perfect setup. And so I'm not involved anymore, but it was my first project, and I had a pleasure to work on it 4 years. So you could see we brought Nomads on day one, 20,000, 25,000 per year. But then we saw the 3 years of impact with new startups, new people moving there. So we saw the whole funnel of innovation. It was really good.
Cool. And what other projects? Because this was just one of the
That was the
many things that you do.
Then we did Cabo Verde, São Vicente, which we struggled just because of the flights. The whole concept was designed that flights were terrible. Still are terrible. Then Pipa in Brazil, Caparica, actually south of Lisbon, then Pipa, Brazil, And now I work directly with Rio and just signed a partnership with the whole Embratur, which is the tourism board of Brazil. And talking about it, South America, and even new projects like Prospero, which is a free startup city, a city built by private people, not the government, which is very interesting as well. And yeah, I do as much as I can, and I have lots of more crazy ideas to implement in the future.
And where did this all start for you? When you started to become a nomad 7 years ago?
Yeah, I think it started actually 12 years ago when I found about nomadism. Before, I was lost in life like many of us, and I was working a full-time job. I was working in the betting industry, sports data industry, and I just found these people working from Bali with a laptop, which was kind of my dream. Just for context, I went to 7 schools in 12 years and 3 universities, and I didn't finish any of those. And so I'm full ADHD, I get bored very easily, and so it didn't work. So I always wanted to travel, but experience the places as a local is the thing. I don't want to travel to take pictures to the Eiffel Tower. I want to travel to understand how the people in Paris actually live. This is why I travel. What they eat, where do they go to the gym, where do they go to work, which means of transportation that they use. And since I'm young, I always got curious. I would travel to a place for a weekend, and I was like, but how do they live? Can I stay longer? I would love to live here for a month. So I was kind of born a nomad. I just didn't have the tools to become proper digital nomad. I didn't work remotely. So it took me 5 years to immigrate to Germany, make family Mali and Portuguese, so there's no many places there. And then immigrate to Poland, learn the skills, and then yes, I became a nomad.
What did you do? Like, what did you learn?
The skill I learned to become a nomad was email marketing. So I worked for 1 year for a company, email marketing, huge company in Poland called Cat. And I was account manager, which allowed me to work with big clients, people with more than 100K, in their mailing list. So I learned everything about email marketing, strategies, automation in 1 year. And then I started selling.
What were the biggest constraints when you were starting out?
Money. It was always about money because I was ready. When I learned something, I studied everything about it. So I learned about digital nomadism. I went to the rabbit hole, everything about it. And then I also learned everything about remote work because that's what powers our lifestyle. And so through that study, I was ready, but I didn't have money. And so the biggest constraint for even the first years is always money.
And how did you start to actually earn money to get this lifestyle? What did you do?
So first I'd like to go full freelancer, and I just quit my job and bought my ticket to Bali. I know, it's what everybody does. But then once I did that, a lot of cool things started to happen. So 1 week after I quit my job, I got a job offer to work in sales for a startup in Warsaw. And then 2 weeks later, I got the offer to work for a remote company promoting remote work, which was kind of a dream. And so once I jumped, things started to happen. And it was all around sales and marketing, which you don't really need more than learning the basic skills and implement it and test it, etc. And that's the first things I did. Not very successfully because I'm a terrible employee. I have full ADHD. I want to fix everything. If I'm in the company, I want to fix the whole company. I can see everything is wrong. I have very strong big picture vision, so I can go in the company and don't know what to know exactly. So in one of the companies, I started building an onboarding system. The other one, I started building a whole remote work policy, and they didn't like that. So it looks like big companies don't like to be fixed.
Is that something that you still experience right now if you work with big companies or either governments? Because there's...
Yeah. So right now it's much better because I built this public image that I'm a digital nomad, so I can go meet presidents like this, which is very useful. And I'm the digital nomad currently. So when the mayors speak with me, they already know this guy is a little bit crazy. So my personal brand precedes the conversation. And when I had lunch with the mayor of Nagasaki in Japan, I can dress what I want. I can be myself, and they expect me to be different. So now it's much, much easier, and they listen to me because once you have success, I did this. For me, it was Madeira, the first project. It's much easier to have these conversations, and people just listen to it.
So it started out as, okay, I want to be free. I learned about nomadism.
Yeah.
And now I want to go on and experience this whole life. Then you really dove deep into nomadism, and then, I need to make money if I want to actually be a nomad and not only know about being a nomad.
Yeah.
Then you start to see how you make money as digital nomad. What are the biggest income, like what are the most common jobs when it comes to digital nomads?
Well, I hate that these nomads have jobs. I think no nomad should have a job. I think nomads should be entrepreneurs, ideally, or freelancers. But there are jobs that are more common: marketing, sales, IT, of course. I feel AI kills all jobs. And those are the most common. But then you have the unicorns. I met lawyers. I met like doctors that are nomads. So many different things as long as you can do from a computer. You can do anything. But I really believe that all nomads should be entrepreneurs. I have this core belief that nomadism is about freedom. And before the pandemic, most nomads were entrepreneurs. They used to make fun of me in Bali because I had a job. I was part of the 10% which had a job or something like that. And now since COVID, many remote workers can now have this lifestyle. But what I see is that people have to wake up at midnight to have meetings because somehow their jobs use until midnight because they were from Europe to the US. That's not freedom. So the next step for me in this community also is moving all these jobs that people have and transform them into businesses.
That's a big vision.
Well,
You're kind of known for that, so that's fine. So what are the most common traits or most common things that you see under nomads? Or like, oh, there's a lot of those businesses I see under nomads.
I think the biggest threat is adaptability. So especially now with the world moving so fast, you see the nomads are always the early adopters to all the trends, always. So now we see a lot of wellness businesses in the nomad space, like from retreats to co-living spaces. It's more and more around wellness. And the world eventually will caught up in 3 to 5 years. We see a lot of agents and people building around AI, from solopreneurs, multipreneurs, etc. A lot of people building on AI and testing stuff on AI for literally everything.
Didn't you have like a really interesting talk from 2 young guys in your conference for that?
I did. And I love that. I love also how that conversation happened. It was really good.
Yeah, so for a bit of context, me and my business partner Fabio were speakers on Nomad Growth, where we talked about building AI agents. And that was literally 1 week before the event. I met Gonçalo on the beach through Biomatico. So now we're here in the founders villa from Biomatico as well, for the Nomad world. And then on the beach, it's like, yeah, we need more speakers about AI. And it's like, I do things with AI and then hired.
Yeah.
And that's how it went.
Yeah, we are very strong curators. We don't wait. If we meet cool people, just...
Yeah. And then at some point you're just sitting behind a swimming pool recording a podcast.
And 1 week ago and a half ago you were in Lisbon, lost in life. Just kidding. We're having good fun, but now you're in Algarve. Have you been in Algarve before this?
No, actually not.
That's the magic of nomadism.
And I'm also going to Bansko.
Ooh, different. But that's also the magic of nomadism. It's a good place to meet the community.
Yeah, so I'm really curious about that. And now, circle back to the story. Because what kind of entrepreneurs? So you see a lot on health, a lot of retreats, a lot of...
Community nowadays. Community is key, and we see now, like, since the last 5 years, nomads are focusing communities and building communities. But now they are monetizing the communities, which was the missing layer. And the world is cutting up as well. And those are the big ones. I think, we need more business.
We just need more business. And this is like what just business is real.
Honestly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even need to be big. Many people think that if they start a business, they need to make $1 million. I think we should make 10K at least. If you make 10K with a business and you don't want to manage people and don't want to worry, I think 10K is great. You can live pretty much anywhere in the world with 10K, and you can invest, and you can live even with 2K and invest the rest. So can you lifestyle business when you make 10K and you don't really care? Or you can make a full, let's make 10 billion thing. It doesn't really matter. Just business equals freedom.
And what does freedom mean to you?
Freedom means that I make my own choices. I choose where I want to be, with whom I want to be, what I work on, with who I want to work on, and this gives me the freedom to build crazy stuff. Without the freedom to live where I want, to meet the people I want to meet, to be in the communities I know to be, I would never be able to feel where I feel.
What are the biggest challenges that you experienced within this journey to first set up Madeira, before that even researched about nomadism, researched about what you can do, learned the skill, had a job, and then after that you made a switch to the entrepreneurial kind?
Yes.
Into the entrepreneurship? Was there a step between that before you started the whole Madeira project, or before that?
I was a remote work consultant. Just before COVID, I did the first remote work conference. I was helping companies to go remote before it was cool. And then I surfed the wave of COVID, where it made me good money, but also I gained 30 kilos, but I was like working 24/7 during the whole COVID situation. And during COVID, before COVID, I wrote the project for Nomadism and Madeira. And it was for Italy, ironically. It was supposed to be for Penabili and the whole villagers in Italy. Italy never paid for the project, Madeira did. But it was just a good accident that we ended up in Madeira. But, well, the step was just keep building, honestly. I believe remote work is the future, so I prepared myself for that. I became a consultant, I organized a conference, I started a podcast. I built a whole ecosystem, and in like 1 year, I was recognized as one of the top 50 influencers in the future of Forex space. And this is insane. But if you really go strong, you can do that. And Madeira was just an accident. I wrote it as a theory that if we bring digital nomads, we can bring remote workers, we can bring companies, we can repopulate villages. Italy didn't take it, Madeira believed in it, and we could prove my theory was correct. And, well, the struggles are always convinced better that your vision is correct. Because we listen to crazy people every single day, and if you're a government, it's 20 times harder. Everybody wants to preach governments because they see governments as a limited source of money. I see them as a limited source of access. They have access to lots of things that normal people don't. Money, power, PR, so we can do crazy stuff with them. But they usually don't give you money. The money part is kind of not for it. And so you need to find the people that invest in you sometimes. So you don't put strife all the time.
Where do you find them?
Honestly, in events and by sharing your ideas. This one was an event organized by me in Madeira, where it was an online conference about the future of work. And opening the conference, I had a secretary of economy, so I hosted an event. I invited someone to open the conference, the political side of it. And out of that, the conversation started on how Madeira should have digital nomads. And out of that, the next day I was meeting the president of Madeira and sharing my idea, and we signed the contract. So I just hosted the conference and invited the right people, which I keep doing to today.
Because right now the mayor of the Algarve was also here.
Mayor of Albufeira was here. I spoke with almost everyone in Algarve. Most of the mayors in Portugal know me really well. But I love to have like the most random conversations with mayors nowadays. Like 2 months ago, I was in Argentina speaking with the mayor of Cordoba. He welcomed me because I was speaking there at the event. I was in Nagasaki. I met the mayor of Nagasaki. Like all these random situations that somehow I end up speaking with mayors in their offices out of nowhere. And it's beautiful.
You worked hard for that.
I guess so, yeah.
But through all that hard work and through all that was upfront, like all the work upfront, from Madeira to now in Rio, that we can talk about later, and you have another really cool projects on the go with a one-way ticket, real Nomad style, that we will also dive in later. What is your vision for the whole nomadism? Where do you see it all going?
I think we're in the tipping point. I think nomadism, inside the bubble, we believe we're doing very well because we left the status quo. And that's amazing. We really left the status quo. We are nomads. Our parents, my mother still called me thinking I'm buying a house one day. And it's better than we were, yet we can do better as a movement. So I really see nomadism as the best lifestyle we can have. Even if it's not traveling constantly, being independent and having financial and freedom and where you need to be, that's already amazing. But I really think we are very fragmented, like people that are building the community governments and instead of wisdom that are not connected with the rest. So I see a world where we need to start seeing more like a network state kind of situation. So network state, as Balazs's book, a guy that wrote this whole concept, is an online movement that represents itself physically around the world, which we are, that has a layer of governance and that's basically tries to create their own state. So I think if we don't do that, it will just be like the hippies, which was a great movement that eventually just for the train at the end of the day. There was a huge explosion and then just died. I think there is a risk that nomadism can happen the same if we don't make it a proper movement. So I think the future is start to unify all this fragmentation and start to build something all together, that we can actually have an identity, that we can actually have leverage over government, leverage over companies. Because right now, I have meetings with governments, like country governments, and they ask me how many nomads there are. Nobody knows. What do they do? Nobody knows. How do I reach to nomads? How? I don't know it well. I know how to can come to my conference and speak with 200, 300 people, but that's not rich. And so if you speak in other movements and other professions, marketing, etc., there is always something way bigger that unites everything. In the nomad space, we don't have it because we have too much freedom, I think. And I think we need it. So there is that. I think everybody needs to become an entrepreneur, or else AI will automatize their job. So that's the only option we have. Jobs will just go to shit. And I think we'll have more communities all around the world. I see the movement of people starting communities. So we see like from Japan, South Korea with John, Argentina, there's like communities popping everywhere. And I think we need to almost like make it easy to start a community, to start a movement and attract people to your city.
What do we need for that?
We need a nomad nation. We need to become a nomad nation, which is my next project. So we started, for context, we finished the conference yesterday. I'm a little bit tired and burned out. But next week, I will start building the nomad nation. I don't know what it is. I know it's this layer that will unify the whole movement. I know it's a bigger community. I know all the community managers should be there. I know we'll have frameworks for community managers, frameworks for the people, frameworks for governments, and just try to unify in one side, in one place, all this information and incredible movements, incredible people just in one place. And they can do whatever. They can, like, we will not force anyone to be on our platform, but they will gain more people by being on our platform. They'll gain visibility. They'll gain access to governments by being on the platform. So that's kind of what we want to build. I don't think it's an app. I think at the end of the day, it's a community. It's a community for everyone. A community where anyone can join, anyone can promote their businesses, anyone can learn and explore about this movement, anyone can find the best communities, and just, make the access to this lifestyle much easier.
What type of rules do you think need to be set, or do you think there need any rules? It's like this philosophy of,
yes.
You know exactly what I mean, right?
I believe that communities are dictatorships, which is very sad. I'm not. All communities are dictatorships. Democracy doesn't work in communities. And the reason why is that you need a strong leader in the community to create the rules, to create a framework. And by creating a strong rules, you create freedom, ironically. So rules create freedom. And by having a community where you cannot, for example, discuss politics happy in Madeira, we don't allow politic discussion in our Slack in Madeira, because that's gonna just destroy the whole community, because they have different visions and we are all radicalized. And so you need strong rules to make sure that communities work. We need strong rules to make sure that countries work. And even if you see now the most successful countries, ironically, are countries that are not very strong in the democracy side. Singapore, Emirates, like all these countries that are growing a lot, even Morocco, they don't really have a very strong democracy. And it's because most democracies, they try to just manage the country for the 4 years to be re-elected. So they sometimes are not there to think long term. And in a community, it needs to be the same. So how we plan it, this is not very clear how we will do this whole thing, to be honest, is we want to give decisions to the people. We will have levels of, if you are a community leader, you have a level. If you are a user, you have another level. If you are a business owner, you have another level. And your vote will count for different things, like where should we do the next Nomad World? Where should we host and go all together to find a new place where there are no nomads yet? So people will be able to vote in different things, but not on everything.
So based on your expertise, based on your skill, based on what you actually bring to the table, and that's what I've learned in business as well, and even in sales, it's my background. If you start giving people advice when you just close 10 deals, they will laugh you right up front in your face. But if you give advice and say, I close over 550 deals, they will listen because you earned your stripes.
Status.
And it's the same with, like, when it comes to nomadism, I listen to you because first of all, you have 7 years of experience within it. You set up entire communities and you work directly with all kinds of governments to make this more than a trend and make something from it for the future. And then I'm also like really curious, like, why is this so important to you? Because you put in a lot of hours to it.
I think we're all playing games. Life is just the games. And we all play different games. Some people play the status game. They just want to be recognized. I'm not like that. I like to be recognized for my work, but I'm not playing the status game. Other people play the money game, and they're very focused on making money. I think that's very fast. Also, so far, it's not my game. We shall change that in the future. I think my game is impacts. So I'm optimizing for the last 7 years and everything I built. I want to change the world and then optimizing for impact. So there is no strong vision because I have ADHD. My vision may change every year or so. But I do know that our lifestyle is the best. I think it's 99% upside to the world. We can travel and live in different places and live in communities. So I always see good things in all this. So even though I don't have a strong vision for what is the future, I have a strong vision that I want to be part of it. I want to build it. And if I see a problem, like the fragmentation of the community, I'm in this unique position to fix it. And this happens a lot in my life. I was in the unique position to be working with Madeira and to make sure they could build a Nomad village, that then we could bring startups, because I was in this intersection of remote work and nomadism. And now I'm even stronger. Now I'm in this intersection of nomadism, attracting foreign direct investments. I'm known worldwide. So I know all the community managers. I know pretty much everyone that is building in this space. So I'm in this unique position where I can start connecting all the dots and trying to create what I think we are missing as a movement. And there is no strong word besides positive impact, honestly. And we shall monetize better. We don't monetize very well because we don't focus on that.
And then we need for that.
For monetizing? Oh, that's gonna be easy. By building it, like, it can monetize in everything, in every single way. So you can, of course, have access, but then, like, for example, the countries want to welcome us. They want to spend money. They're spending money on Meta only. They can spend money in a community that is built for this. The companies that want to build in the space, I had a discussion with one of the two biggest producers of credit cards in the world, and they want to be in this space. They want to create something for us, but we cannot prove we exist because there is no unified community. So it's one of these things where everyone can win. If there is a big community, we can have products made for us. We can find everything easily. We can have community. Companies can understand us better and can approach us better. Countries can build for us. So many countries that launch these Nomad visas that are not doing anything useful because they have no idea what to do. From the 65 Nomad visas we have, I would say 3 countries understand what they're doing. From the 65.
Which countries?
They understand? Portugal, Spain, Brazil, probably. Thailand is doing very well, so let's say 4. Out of 65. So all these Nomad visas, Kazakhstan launched a Nomad visa. They have no idea. Like, most of the countries fell miserably into attracting nomads because they don't understand who we are. They don't have a tool to reach out to us.
What opportunities lay in this field? Because there's a lot of business opportunities that are laying in this field as well.
I'm not sure. I think my vision is so big that I'm missing all the normal opportunities right now. I really struggle with that part. I know the people I see making money are building businesses for themselves, not focusing on the lifestyle, and then they lead the lifestyle. I think that's the biggest opportunity right now. I think mobility, of course, is a big opportunity. Help people with visas, setting up. We see more and more. We had SETI here. And we see more people helping with setting up businesses and companies. We have a more global lifestyle. I think the biggest business is always real estate. So this is true as well here. Co-living spaces, all kinds of accommodation, service departments. If you can invest in that, we all need to create the real estate for nomads. And it can be a startup city like Prospero. It can be a nomad village with prefabs. It doesn't really matter. The real estate probably is the place where we have more money laying down because we are keeping all our money to Airbnb. That's not the idea.
And then there's now one really big myth that I'm gonna help out the world with you.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, but nomadism is bad for the economy.
Oh, that's correct. How come? No, like, oh yeah, and it causes gentrification and everything. So that's all a lie. Because up to today, even though you can see the news, first you need to understand the news, why they do the news. But second thing is, if you go to the numbers, and I was attacked and I received death threats from the left wing in Portugal for promoting nomadism, which was very interesting. And then I had to dig the numbers of Lisbon, which is known by nomads rules that in Lisbon, the real estate is going crazy because of nomads. Well, nomads is Airbnb. And let's say we have 120 nomads per year in Portugal, in Lisbon. And we have over 6 million tourists. So it's very hard to convince that 100,000 are making a worse impact than 1 million. Oh, but nomads buy houses. Do we? Do we really buy that many houses around the world? Also not true. Most people buying houses are actually pension funds and investment funds from the US, from like BlackRock, Vanguard. Vanguard alone invested 300 million in buying houses to turn them into Airbnbs in just 2 years. 300 million euros. So that's just not true. Are we bad to the economy? Well, we bring money, more money than tourists. We stay longer. We have less environmental impact because our average stay is 2 months. We spend money in local businesses. We don't really like the big businesses. We eat healthy. We like to support local producers because we're working for organic and all this stuff. I don't know. I think the reason I fell in love with remote work and with nomadism is because I see it as the first movement that can actually improve the world in every single aspect. No nomad is racist. It's impossible. You travel the world. I was in Africa. I cannot be racist against of Africans. I was in Dubai. I cannot be racist against people that are Arabic. I was in Morocco. Also cannot be racist against that. I was in Asia, so I cannot be racist against Asia because I understand and I connect with everyone. So, yeah, we live in this kind of utopia where we kind of only bring good things to the table, which is quite incredible. And maybe that's why I invested so much time in this big vision, because I saw the impact in Madeira. It's incredible.
What are other big myths that you hear about London? Because the news loves to talk shit about us.
Well,
like, the news loves that. Like, it's not what the news does, because it...
Let's talk about the news, right? How do they monetize? Through clicks. So hate brings more clicks than love. And so they have to hate something. And so every year we have a different keywords, and there's hate going towards it. Last year was digital nomads. In Portugal, it's the golden visits. We had like 5,000 golden visits in Portugal. Somehow it became a big problem. And media needs clicks. So whatever is seen in media, 95% of it was built for clicks, not for importing you. For example, the return to the office trends. You see the news. Everybody's returning to the office. Except that data doesn't show that. We are really in the flat curve since last year. If you go 1 year back, the data shows that the same people work remotely now as 1 year back. So how the hell you see all this news about return to the office? Who is actually interested in this? First, clicks and real estate. Office real estate is huge. If office real estate goes down, all these loans will default and we'll have a big economic crisis. So there's always a why. Why do media write about these nomads? Why do they prefer to tell these stories and blame us for things they're not blamed? For them, it's just generation clicks.
What are other things that nomads are blamed for?
I think raising real estate prices, gentrification, which is a very fun one, in the global, because it's a global world. Like, again, how can we assume in Lisbon that 100,000 nomads gentrified in water than 6 or 7 million tourists? It just makes no sense. Gentrification is just a neighborhood changing, which we saw in Brooklyn, US, in New York. The whole neighborhood went from ghetto to trendy to rich in very fast. There is nomads in Brooklyn. I would love to, but no. And we see this all over the world. Nomads are very, very small community compared with the impact they have in the world. And so it's very, very hard to justify numbers. No attack that was made for nomads is supported by numbers.
And where do you where do you get your data from?
I track my data from Nomad list, from prices increase, like depending on the issue. In the real estate, we get all the official data to defend Lisbon, what was really happening in Lisbon. So I went to all the sources of real estate. From prices, number, who is actually buying the houses, how many foreigners are buying houses, immigration numbers, who is moving to Portugal. Number one, for example, is Brazil. We have 100,000 Brazilians. Those guys are not just nomads. And then it was like Nepal, not very strong nomad community. India, also, like all these universities not coming from nomadism. And then I think the biggest one was UK. Which, okay, we can say some rich people come from UK, some of them are nomads. So you just need to look at all the data, not just the nomad data, but all the economic data around to understand the issues and understand what's really happening. And after doing that with Lisbon, I know Lisbon, which I'm from Lisbon, I know the situation of Lisbon really, really well. So now I just do that for whatever city we are being attacked on. And this is also why I'm creating the Nomad Nation, because nobody's defending our community. We are just attacked. And in the remote work community, there is so much data that we can defend ourselves with. And in our community, which data do we have? We have Gallup saying we are 35 million. How do they count? I have no idea.
What's the Nomad Nation?
The Nomad Nation is just the process I spoke before. It's just, we want to unite all the nomads and create a feeling of belonging, but also data, so we can actually defend ourselves. This happens in Portugal. I'm the president of the Digital Nomad Association for Portugal. And when there's an article that attacks us, they call me first, because they want to balance the article. They want to put, nomads are ruining Lisbon, but they want to say what's the other side, because there is an ethics in journalism still. And so what do they call when it's an article in New York Times? There is no representation. So we want to unify the nomads, create representation, create leverage, and make sure we have a voice and data. Voice is great, but data is better.
What's your biggest challenge there?
Unify all the nomads.
Find all of them.
Finding all of them, convincing them that we need to get together, convincing them that we need to belong to something bigger. That this lifestyle is great, you can be free, you can be independent, but just by giving your voice to something, just by belonging to something, you can actually help all of us. So we need to change back from that mindset of me, myself, and I to a community mindset, to a movement, to a nation, and actually feel that we belong to something bigger than us. Because we have the best lifestyle, sure. Is it really good if you don't connect with kids? Is it really good if you are attacked and then people start rioting on the streets of Barcelona? Nomads go away because they think nomads are humans. Doesn't help anyway. So we need to think as a movement. We need to think as a community.
And so Nomad Nation, that's one of your next projects?
That's their next project. I'm trying to refuse everything else.
But you also have a one plane ticket.
Yes.
Two?
I'm going to Prospera. Well, I'm traveling a little bit and I go to Prospera, which is a free city in the Honduras. And they are building for me what is a nomad dream. I didn't know about them 6 months ago. And then the Yes Theory, a famous YouTube channel that is amazing. They did a whole story on it. And I understood they're trying to build a dream, which is a private city, someone built for entrepreneurs, and they're building as a private entity in the Honduras special economic zones. All this is amazing already. Then they are actually building, then they actually have funding, and things are happening, but they're also facing several challenges. Like local community, they didn't integrate so well, so they have some challenges with the local communities, something that we did very well in Madeira. With the governments, governments is like very extremist left and right there, so they need to be able to defend themselves a little bit better when things change, to make sure they stay and remain independent. And then building community. So all the challenges that they have is the things that they became very good at. Also, they have mostly crypto and longevity people. They have the fullest longevity startups there. They have a Bitcoin too, but they lack more people. And so our community would love to be there. It's like an island, second biggest office in the world, fast internet, the smartest people are there. It's like a Dubai 25 years ago I make it. So it's very interesting, and they're very excited to finally go there and see it in person and work with them for some months at least. I will see, it's gonna be fun. My whole family is working with me. And I think this is just this unicorn project that if it works, plus we bring the Nomad community there, I think it would just be one of the coolest places to be on Earth.
How long are you going to be there?
For now, 3 months. Then I shall go back to Rio, because it's still my favorite place to go.
Nice. And so what would you say is the most interesting switches happening right now in the world, and also within nomadism, within everything that you're doing, and the shifts of impact that you're already making?
Well, AI, we cannot ignore it. AI is crazy. It's going to change everything in the next 5 years. And I'm afraid that countries will take 10 or 15 to adapt. So I think we'll have 5 to 10 years with high unemployment that will cause lots of problems for societies as they are built now, until we go to UPI and find a better way of managing all this world. I think communities are very interesting. We finally understood that our cell phones are just a window to everybody else's lives. And we are now finding joy in community again. So I see more and more communities. I see better communities. Wellness and longevity. We don't go to the doctor when we get sick now. We are going before. We are going to improve our lives. We are finally taking care of ourselves. So I love all that. In the Nomad community is interesting. I think if we can pull off a domination, we finally have representativity in around the world. So I think that will change everything. And then I'm very excited for Latin America. Nothing. It's such a beautiful, incredible place. I'm very excited for Africa. I think Africa will take a deployment. I need more community in Africa with Principing. You need more nomads from Africa and more nomads from South America. We need more nomads from Asia. They're mostly Americans and Europeans. So we need to push that. And we see more and more Japanese coming to the community. We see Filipinos coming to the community. We need that diversity that we are still seeking. So I'm excited for having more people from all around the world joining us. But I'm also excited for finally unifying all this and have representativity and agree. Honestly, we need more power, we need more leverage, which we don't have anymore. So if we can build that, that will change everything for nomads, for companies, for governments. We can become the best tool that the government has to attract people to their country. And yeah, we can change whole society. So that's fun.
See, fun. And honestly, like, this is quite fun.
This is okay, yeah.
This is quite fun.
I should swim after this.
I need to record another one of those. That's fine. Maybe after that I can swim. But
Yes, we shall swim.
And if there's one thing that you would like to say to the one who is still watching, the one who's still listening, because I'm trying to upload it on Spotify as well right now.
Yeah.
Instead of only YouTube.
Nice. I think, well, the last weeks I'm thinking a lot about death, which is ironic. And we are sure, at least this life we are going to live. I'm not sure we have another one. I don't think so. And so when I think about my time, what I'm working on, who I'm connecting with, I'm now thinking a lot about, I have a very finite time. I'm 37. So I should be somewhere half through if everything goes well in my life. And I think the message is live your best life. Like, don't do a crappy job. Don't say no to whoever people are around you that don't feed you, that don't make good for you. I am saying no to 99% of things because they don't bring anything good for me. Yet I'm opening space because of that to live my best life. Like, I can be here. I can organize this crazy event for you guys. But then I go to the Nomad cruise. But then I go meet governments. But then I go meditate and go to the beach and just lay down for an hour and get some sun. So I think we have to then the power to design the life we want, whatever that looks like. We can have the financial freedom. We can build businesses. We have AI to help us on all of that. We're in this unique position where we can build our best lives. And for every day we work in a crappy office, for every year we spend with the wrong people, we are wasting the thing. The only thing that is finite for now is this time. And maybe because I'm getting older, maybe because some people around me are getting sick and had accidents, I now see my mortality in a much different way. And I'm more and more optimizing for living my best life. I said this, I had a TEDx talk 1 week ago, exactly. And I said this in the dinner of the speaker, which is, if I die tomorrow, I'll live my best life. I can't do more. So you can see here, I can't do more. Like, I'm doing my best life. I have a beautiful family. I love my daughter. I'm traveling full time. I go to the coolest places. I meet the coolest people. If I die tomorrow, there is no regrets whatsoever. I don't think 99% of the people could say that. I think they are waiting for something to happen to be free. I think they are waiting for something to happen to live their best lives. And they are waiting for permission from someone or something. There is no permission, you just have to do it. And there you go there. So, yeah, design your best life and live it, because we may have only this one.
And I totally agree on that. Like, if there's things that and I'm really young, like I'm really, really fucking young, but I learned a lot through this podcast and talking to people like you, way more experienced, and know more. And if there's something that I've learned, it's one, action drives change. If you don't take action, nothing will change. I cannot stand the thought of laying on my deathbed and looking back and thinking of what could have been.
Yeah, it could have been better.
That's my worst nightmare. My worst nightmare is laying on my deathbed and thinking of what could have been. And it takes hard work, you're going through a lot of shit. You have sacrifice that you make, but if you can go to bed with a good conscience and say to yourself, wow, in my case, I'm a man, but for women or for everything in between, like, you do you. But if you can say to yourself in the end of the day, I am proud of the person that I'm becoming, and I'm becoming exactly who I want to become, you're good.
That's so good. Yeah, it's that, honestly, just work hard, because if you are building something, then everything goes like, if you're working a crappy job in the office and you don't work hard, I get it, honestly. But when you design your life, you usually work for yourself and you're building something bigger than you, then you just work. Like, I have no weekends. I just work whenever I want. If I feel inspired after this podcast, I'll open my computer, I'll stay here, go to a cafe, and I'll just work. And I'm very comfortable with that. Some people say, you need to rest, you need to do this. I think you need to find your energy balance. I work really well early mornings. I work really well in the afternoon, the end of the afternoon, like more nights and after dinner. And I just work every single day. And when I want to have a day off, if I want to go to the beach on a Monday because the legs are good and I want to do whatever, I just go because I did the work. So yeah, you need to know yourself, to know what you do, to optimize for your best life. And don't be afraid of working. Working, like whatever you do, the more you work, the more you test, the more you deliver, the more you test, the more you deliver, the more you learn. And the more people you meet, and the more cool stuff happens in your life.
And then next year on Nomad World Fest, there's going to be a nomination for Best Digital Nomad Podcast.
Ooh, oh, that's interesting. And that's an idea. That's an idea. We have the best creator, which would fit that actually.
Yeah, but like podcast is different. It's a different medium.
That's why I say creator, because we can club everything. There's some really cool, yeah,
maybe, and then I will be nominated officially, you know, and then
I like what you do. Take advantage of this. Okay. There's a chance.
There's a chance.
That's it's always YouTubers who win, so we shall do something different.
Yeah, officially, like this is gonna be uploaded on YouTube as well. But
so we are YouTubers.
Let's go. If you ever need a speaker for anything, sales, marketing related, you know.
I'm not sure about the speaking, but it's great workshops. The speaking we have to see next year, if he comes to Rio.
Honestly, I'm quite down. Literally, I talked to my business partner.
Are you coming to Rio?
And
are you the first man
dropping a note for him? He said that if the opportunity is there, that you want us as a speaker.
Yes. It's recorded.
I need to text my business partner. We're gonna be speakers in Rio.
Yes. And now you speak. You did the workshop, now you speak.
Cool. What do you want? Sales, marketing, or AI stuff? Or I do
all the above. How to use AI to increase your sales and marketing. I easily give you the title. You just have to do it.
Cool. So like 2 or 3, two times, two speaking days in Rio.
Yeah, sounds good.
My business partner is gonna hate me for this.
This is how we roll, man. We have the freedom to make decisions when we want. It's just vibe. Yeah. I think it's vibe. If there's vibe coding, we have a vibe life, right?
Vibe life, Nomad life.
Nomad life is the vibe life.
Okay, then I want to thank you for your time, and maybe we jump into the pool later, because it's staring at us there.
It is. It's so hot.
Right. Ciao. Wait. If people want to follow you and see things and everything, I almost forgot it.
It's very hard. We have to go to LinkedIn first and write Gonçalo Hall, H-A-L-L.
I'll leave it in description.
Yes. That's the place where I write all my thoughts. And yeah, if you follow me there, you follow me everywhere. Or Gonçalo.hall on Instagram. But I'm not so good with video, so follow LinkedIn. I write more than me.
And you also have a podcast, right?
I have a podcast, Gonçalo Hall. Yeah, everything goes right, Gonçalo Hall, and whatever medium you like, so I'm probably doing something there.
Or you have someone doing something there.
That would be ideal. AI.
Alright. And take action, create your own story, and I see you later. Ciao.